Hey, welcome to the Healthy Funnel Podcast. This is the digital marketing podcast for healthcare providers. I'm Alex Sengar here with my amazing co-host, Will Boyd. Holy cow, are we excited to have you here on the podcast. My goodness. Will, I just can't believe that we're here at this point where we get to talk about digital marketing. I'm so excited about this.
I am too. I think, we had no idea the demand that would be out there for talking about this kind of stuff. If you're out there and this is the first time you've been listening to us or coming across our work, Alex and I had crossed paths many times online in similar groups because we're both physical therapists, recently graduated within the past year. And we're always helping people with digital marketing questions because we both we're kind of nerdy about it. We really we get super nerdy about it. We really got into it. We loved it. We both would talk, and we found out we were taking, same kind of online training courses and stuff that we were interested in. And we didn't even realize that there was such an interest from the community within healthcare providers. Honestly, I think it's really cool that our fields, right? So when we say healthcare providers, it can cross the span of anywhere that revolves around helping people with their health. And we had no idea that people were recognizing the trend that we're moving to digital marketing. And so we thought, what a better way. If you're out there, you're really curious, we have a Facebook group called Healthcare Digital Marketing. Jump in. We talk about this stuff every single day. And so if you're interested, definitely hop in. This is going to be kind of a supplement to that. And we really wanted to create a vlog and a podcast. And so we're pumped. Alex, today we're going to be talking about the future of healthcare digital marketing.
We are, and why you need to be part of this future. Because if you're listening to this, you're probably somewhat of a forward-thinking healthcare provider. We hope you are. And we want you to get in your mind that digital marketing is going to play a huge role in the future of our business. And so we want to talk about where that's going to go and why we need to be on this train going forward. Because, I mean, up to this point, I think that as healthcare providers, we've been pretty comfortable being in the background in terms of online presence. And over the past few years, and especially over the past year, Will, you and I have seen physical therapists, chiropractors really coming out, putting themselves out online, and not only producing content, but actually advertising online, having, social media ads, Facebook ads, Google ads. And we want to walk through why is this so important, but also where's it going to go over the next few years? And we're going to be bringing on real experts into this over the next little while. We'll be talking with you live on here, but we want to start it off with where is digital marketing in healthcare going? And why should we even care about it in the first place? Will, you had some really interesting stats that you were throwing at me earlier about how the landscape is changing in terms of how people are seeing businesses online. Do you want to start off with that?
Yeah, I think a great place to start is, let's just get a sense of where we're at with digital marketing around the world, and especially kind of with social media, which is one component of digital marketing, but it's playing a massive, massive role every year more and more. And so I was just doing some reading. There is a blog post by Hootsuite.com, which if you've ever used Hootsuite, it's sort of like a pre-planning tool that lets you make posts, schedule posts ahead of time. But anyways, they did a study that was conducted with the Harris Poll. Hootsuite did partner studies that were conducted by Harris Poll. And some interesting stuff. By the end of 2016, there were 2.8 billion people using social media, which is just unheard of. 2.8 billion, that's just under half of the people in the entire world, which is just crazy. 83% of Americans, and again, a lot of this is by the end of 2016. This was the 2017 report, so it's probably even more now than it was then, but 83% of Americans have social media accounts. I am assuming, I tried to find details of this. I'm assuming it means adults. I don't know, but it might be, honestly, I would not be surprised if it's even including babies at this point, and dogs. If we include pets,
probably.
Let's be real, I follow more than half of my Instagram pets, so you have to keep that in mind. But then there's some really interesting business stats that I think are really crazy. You and I were talking off air about this, and that 48% of Americans have interacted with companies or institutions on at least one social media network. which is that means almost half of Americans have interacted with companies or institutions on social media networks, which is why this is going to be so huge moving forward that we have digital marketing presence. 41% of Americans say it's important that the institutions they engage with have a strong social media presence. Of those Americans who have a social media account, and this is the one that just blew me away, 28% would rather engage with a brand or organization on social media than visit a physical location.
Oh my goodness.
3 out of 10 people would rather engage on social media with a business than to go there to the physical location of the business. If we're looking forward, and that was 2000, so all that data was collected, taking in all of 2016, my gut says that number has only gotten higher, and it's just crazy. And if you're out there thinking, yeah, I know it's important, guys, it is hugely important the way the world is going. And we talk about this off the air all the time. If you just look around you, the amount of people on their phone, I hate to say it, the amount of people walking with their head down in their phone, or even driving,
yeah.
Right? And thank goodness for Bluetooth and hopefully more voice control type things, because it's crazy, but it is where the world is going. And something just crossed my mind to think, I could picture someone saying, maybe there's a nurse out there who says, all of my business, is referred from physicians, right? Like I just have to, I follow an order. And that can be the case, right? And that's how the physical therapy industry for a long time has been. But I'd say, you know what? Digital marketing gives you an opportunity to create your own brand and to create your own business based around your knowledge, which is huge as we look forward to who doesn't want to find new ways to make more income.
Right.
Alex,
it just opens up. Yeah, man, it opens up so many doors. And I think that when we think about digital marketing, social media, online presence, we always default to that. Well, it's my business's online presence, like my 9-to-5's online presence. But we also want to introduce the idea that you could have a presence online outside of your 9-to-5 that could maybe become your 9-to-5. I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and how both for Will and I mean, we're both physical therapists, right? We finished doctorate degrees, Will mentioned, in the past year. And we're both early on in our quote unquote careers, but we've created for ourselves an entire extra passion project that turned into an actual income stream, that's turned into a full business. And that's something that would not be possible without having an online presence. And it just opens the door so much. So whether you're thinking, I need to get more customers for my current healthcare business, my 9-to-5 business, or maybe you're a business owner and you want to get more patients into that, or maybe you want to build something for yourself, build your own little company, build your own little side hustle. That's what this podcast is about. It's learning how to do that. And there's a lot of other places that are going to teach you the big picture of business and online business. We're going to get into a lot of the nitty gritty here of actually how to set that stuff up. That's what's been important to Will and I. And that's where our strengths really lie is, well, let's talk about Facebook ads. Like, how do I actually set one up? How do I determine if my offer's right? How do I make money off a Facebook ad in the first place? Because Facebook ads don't work. We hear that all the time. But we're here to tell you online business, digital marketing works. And especially for healthcare providers, there's huge demand for people needing competent help online. And sure, we're not going to be treating everyone online in a telehealth situation, but we're going to get into that too, because there's just a huge landscape that's open to us right now as healthcare providers. So we want to help you take advantage of that, learn the skills that you need to actually apply to make that happen, to both build extra streams of income and build your current business. Because Will and I just feel so passionately about this. If you can't tell, we just have a little bit of strong feelings about about the online world and merging healthcare. So this is the place where that's all going to happen.
It's going to be so first off, we want to make every episode actionable, and so that you can walk away with something that's important. And we thought, day one, we want to talk a little bit about the future of where things are going, because it is so important, and we're going to express that over and over again, that that's where people are. That's where people's attention is. That's where people's attention is. I'm not sure on the correct verbiage on that one, but it is where people are. And if we're going to reach them, right? Even let's say you're a nurse who just wants people to, or you're a dentist who wants someone to know more about their dental health, right? I would argue that instead of even getting in front of a group of 20 people at a seminar, which is still wonderful and we could argue may have more of an impact, I think that you could probably likely reach and impact more people by being on social media. And I know that there's an argument against that, and I'm totally all for live seminars. It's not like Alex and I live in a computer and we never branch out into the real world. But we joke, Alex and I joke that in the old school world of physical therapy, for example, you only got referrals from physicians, and so you'd go and take lunches like any other profession, and you'd take lunches to a doctor's office, and hopefully they would like you and they'd send you business, and that would be, a source of referrals. Well, Alex and I joke that, honestly, the amount of times that people go and bring lunches and never get to see the physician would probably have a better chance of actually the physician seeing your face if you were running a Facebook ad with special interest to people with the title of medical doctor in your local area, saying, hey, I'm Alex. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm going to send my patients to you. And I strongly believe you've got a really good chance of getting in front of them that way, more than you do taking a lunch. And that's I don't have statistics on that, so it's up for debate. But I think that there is a solid argument for that. So, but we do want to make one. We want to make every episode have some type of thing that you can take action from. And so we wanted to start with where else? The most easily the dominating player in the world of social media, and that is the one and only Facebook. And so Alex, our master of Facebook content, I would love to throw it in your corner for everyone's out there who's saying, guys, this is awesome. I get it. Sounds amazing. I don't even know how to write a post on Facebook, right? Or maybe I know how to make a post. I don't really know. I never thought about a strategy. I just post, what comes up. Where do we start?
Yeah. So here's what I want you to think about. Up to this point, you've probably been using Facebook as like a connection between your friends and family, right? We want you to start seeing Facebook as your digital business card to the world for your business, right? Facebook can be a very powerful business platform, even within your own personal page. So that's where we want to invite you to start. Look at your personal Facebook profile this week and see, is this a good representation of me professionally? Okay. Is my profile picture professional looking? Do I have crazy posts from 2013 of me partying? Right now, I get it. Not everyone's going to be like stalking your photos on Facebook. But we want you to clean up your Facebook profile a little bit, your personal profile, and we want you to make one post, okay? Start with one. We're going to get into, over the next few episodes, a really potent Facebook post series, but we want you to start with one post. Whether you're thinking about maybe it's back pain for your physical therapy clinic, maybe it's dental care if you're a dentist and people getting regular checkups. Maybe it's you're a nurse and you're helping people after a major cardiac incident, and you just want to start getting your presence out there. You want to start developing a voice on Facebook. Just create one post where you say, "Hey, look, everyone, I'm going to start putting out my thoughts on this subject, and I want to know if this would be important for you to hear about." So maybe let's say it's back pain. Okay, let's say you're a physical therapist. You're in a clinic. Maybe you own the clinic. We're going to go on our personal Facebook page just to get comfortable with how to post on there, and we're going to give one really high value post. We're going to say, "Hey guys, I've been thinking a lot about back pain, and I want to know if it's important to you. And this is how I think about back pain. There are 3 types of back pain, and this is how I think about them." Put lots of spaces in your post. Don't make it one giant paragraph, but just come up with one, what we call high value post, where you're really giving something of value to people in that post. See what the response is like. See if people are like, Hey, this was incredible. Maybe you get total crickets because you haven't posted for a while. Maybe maybe this is the first time in 5 years that you posted on Facebook. Just get started today. Okay. That's the first step. Clean up your Facebook profile and put one high value post on there. Can you do that? If you can, and if you do, we would love to hear what the results are. Now, this is something that we're going to be building over the next few episodes, getting from posting really good content on Facebook to actually using it as part of an advertising system, as part of a digital marketing system. Because we're going to cover Facebook ads. We're going to get really in depth into how to build Facebook ads for your business. We're going to get in depth into how to build out a landing page that you can send people to collect their information. We're going to start talking about email and how to use email to bring someone from just barely knowing you to being comfortable buying from you. We're going to talk about this whole funnel concept and what this means, how to create an online presence that can bring you income purely online. But this is where we're going to start. Make one Facebook post. Let us know how it goes. If you get total crickets, we want to hear it. We want to hear the good, bad, and ugly. But maybe you'll get a couple people. Maybe it's just one person from this post that's like, wow, that was really good. I had never thought of things like that before. So that is our challenge to you. Create one high-value post, and we want to hear about it.
I think you make a great point too, Alex, in that what we want to have happen is to be consistent. And so at least in your mind, say, you know what, I'm going to try to do this at least 3 to 5 times in a week, and it doesn't have to be that massive high value post. And when we say high value, just something that really is well thought out, that someone could walk away from and say, you know what, I learned something important from that. And so one way that I view this, and I think is the way that social media is going to trend in a way, is that you've got YouTube, for example, which has different components. One is for pure entertainment. We've all been down the rabbit hole of YouTube entertainment.
The cat videos.
The cat videos, you name it. Right, but there's also this massive educational component of YouTube. I would argue it's probably the biggest online school out there.
Yeah.
Alex, how much have you personally learned from YouTube?
Oh man, probably 80% of what I now know in terms of online business started off on YouTube. Like you think about how much you spent in on your clinical education versus how much you spent, time-wise on YouTube. The return can be so huge there. So yes, I've learned a ton.
Right there with you. I would argue that 80% of my doctor of physical therapy degree is based from YouTube, really. And I have no qualms in saying that. I mean, I'm a visual learner, and the way the system is set up doesn't really allow for that. And so I'm really grateful. I lived in a time when YouTube was available and people had posted content, things like Khan Academy that are out there. So much. But I think what it comes down to is we're getting into a time where there's so much clutter on Facebook, in the sense of posts that don't bring value to someone else's life. And I think what's really fascinating as a psychology standpoint, Alex and I really love psychology, and that's really what this is all about, right? Is playing into psychology, is that information throughout the history of human span is very powerful to have, right? The more that you knew about your neighbor in a time of, let's say, political turmoil, the safer you could be. Who can I trust? Who can I not trust? Who's on the side of where I want to be, where I don't want to be? How do I get out of here if I need to get out of here? Information we've always wanted to know about other people. It's a trust thing. It's a confidence thing. However, at this point, we're almost becoming so desensitized in some ways that I think what's amazing with Facebook is if you shift it to that YouTube model into this educational value-based platform, you create that, you're different. Right? Wow, this guy, I go and look up Alex's posts because I learned so much from them, versus, hey, I saw what Alex's kids did today, which I'm still really curious about. But at some point, 35 straight days of it, I'm probably going to get desensitized and be like, you know what, it's the same thing every day. And we all know those people. And we've all probably been that person at some point in time where you're not really providing value in the sense other than just telling people about your life, which is great.
What you ate.
Exactly. And so I want you to really think about that if you're out there. We're talking about shifting from that purely personal, and we never want you to lose your personal touch, but from a personal touch to that sort of educational value base. If you're a healthcare provider, you have so much knowledge. Guys, how many times out there have you heard someone, you've told them something that you thought was incredibly commonplace or everyone knew that, and one of your patients or someone in front of you just goes, I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
How many times does that happen to you guys? Because if it does, right, this is where we have a place, a platform to reach so many people with the things that we think everyone will know this. And the reality is we know that not everyone knows that. It's the same way that, you know, when Alex and I would learn from people doing digital marketing or online marketing, and they'd say something like, oh, you know, everyone knows how to do this. And Alex and I are taking notes. Wait, what was
We're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah. And you gotta, so I think that's really important. And I just wanted to bring that up because I think as we go forward, we want to think about shifting, especially from this, how to use it to leverage our healthcare knowledge, whether a personal brand or a business or someone else's business that you want to help. We want to transform these into value educational based posts and to view them as platforms like that. I don't know, Alex, your thoughts on that? That's something I've just been thinking about.
I think that that's one of the biggest mindset shifts when you start getting into digital marketing and figuring out putting a presence out online is you have to shift from social media is just a way to stalk everyone else's lives and sort of throw some random posts out there to it should be some structured, highly valuable information for people. And that's what people ultimately will follow you for, is that they're getting value for their lives from you. And as a healthcare provider, I think we have huge value to add to people. And just like Will said, you know so much more than the average Joe about your subject, right? Like you are an expert whether or not you want to be, even if you're a student. Let's talk for just a second about the healthcare student, because I hope that there's some students listening right now. Will and I have just come from that world, and it's really easy to think, I don't know enough to be valuable to someone. Like I'm going to wait until I finish the doctorate degree. Maybe you're in PT school or PA school or dental school, and you're thinking, I don't know anything yet. When I graduate, then I'll start thinking about it. Guys, it doesn't really change that much. Like the day you get that degree, it doesn't just magically like, oh, now you know everything. Start now from where you're at. And that's really what Will and I want to emphasize. The best place to start with digital marketing is right where you're at right now. And that's a phrase that I've stolen directly from Will Boyd, because it's so true. So start somewhere, start from where you're at, and let's start getting comfortable putting yourself out online.
Yeah. And you know, honestly, there's no better time to start when you don't have a following, you know, or there's no,
there's no pressure.
There's not really a lot of people there to criticize you. You know, it's going to be your mom or your aunt being like, oh honey, that was so great. And that's a perfect time to start going, you know, before, yeah, I just think it's a great time because there's no pressure, right? And what I would say too, from a mental standpoint, is don't expect to have hundreds of people comment on something, you know, or do it more as an exercise for yourself. I'm a big believer in the self exploration exercise, in the sense of do it for you because you're curious about it, and you're not so interested in the result as much as the process of going through this experience, because that's ultimately, you only get better at it doing this way. And Alex and I can tell you, you know, I can think of a time when we were, you know, Alex and I both host other podcasts that are for different things altogether. And we, you know, I remember I would make posts for our other podcasts, and no one would ever like or comment or anything. And I realized all I was doing was talking about myself and our stuff, you know, and not really connecting with what my audience would want, or our audience would want. And it took me a long time to really understand the psychology behind that. And so I think one thing too is to think about, who is it? We're going to dive more into this in a lot of detail.
Ooh, yeah.
Just basically, who is it that you would like to reach? And then what are they going to be wanting? And that's going to be a massive part of all of this, especially if we're coming from a brand standpoint or a business standpoint, is thinking, we're going to spend episodes breaking down who exactly are you trying to reach. And you might not know yet. That's totally fine. And I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can't start because I don't know. Absolutely not. In fact, you might find that there are people interested in what you have to say that you had no idea about, right? Maybe it's your old high school friends who you thought could care less about, you know, I don't know, exercise. And now they're super fascinated, or something's going on in their life and they want to know about it. So Alex, before we send this off, let's see if we can come up with maybe 2 or 3 quick bullet points of got it. I got it, Alex. I'm going to make it a value post. What's a valuable post?
A valuable post includes your knowledge at the highest level, but distilled down to the level that people actually care about online. Okay. So bullet point 1 has to be highly valuable, like really useful to someone, but in terms that they can understand. It should be lengthy enough that you can actually give something actionable, but it doesn't need to be a blog post length, right? And then build in lots of white space to it. It should be really readable. If that means you have one sentence and then a new paragraph and then another sentence and then another paragraph, like that's just fine. So build in space into it, make it something useful that people could actually apply in their lives, relevant to their health and your expertise, but make it something they can understand. Is that fair, Will?
I think that's fair. I would throw in maybe 2 other things to help you guys. One is put emojis in, which sounds silly and ridiculous. We might lose some people listening right now because of that. But I promise, the Facebook algorithm, which is something that we're going to dive into. And if it's something you might be out there and if you're out there and you've heard of the Facebook algorithm, this crazy thing, we're going to break down. We're definitely not going to break down the algorithm because then we'd not need jobs. We would be set for life. But we're going to talk about sort of what it means, what's the idea behind it, the concepts and all that stuff. But Facebook likes that you use emojis. And really what it comes down to is Facebook likes visual things because people are visual. And so just view them as visual add-ins to whatever it is that you're saying. And that brings me to my second point. Post an image with your post. You don't have to, but you might as well. Facebook likes that you have images on there or video. It loves video more than anything, but I don't want to, that's a step that we're going to get to later. Right now, if you're not comfortable getting behind video, I certainly wasn't for a long time, that we just post an image and you can go to pexels.com. You can go to upsplash.com, some places that have just beautiful, beautiful high-res pictures for free. And with a search keybar or search tool, you can just type in keywords and you can bring up pictures. So I think Alex made some great points and add some visuals in. Last thing is just be consistent. Make sure that it's not just one and then a month later you post something, which is it's easy to fall into that. And it is. From a personal standpoint, I think that's great. Like I don't like to post about personal stuff too often, but we're going to start viewing this differently. We're going to view this as your digital business card, which you can do through, Alex, should we be doing that through a personal or business page?
Man,
that's for another day.
Let's save that for another day. We're going to answer that. For right now, literally, I want someone starting on their personal page. And we'll get into why down the road. But start on your personal page. If you got a business page, you can share it to that.
Awesome. Guys, just want to say thank you so much for episode 1 of the Healthy Funnel podcast, the digital marketing podcast for healthcare providers. We're so excited. We're going to be doing this once a week, and we're going to be breaking down topics. If you guys have any topics that you're curious about, shoot us a message at the Healthcare Digital Marketing Facebook group. You can find Alex and I on Facebook at Alex Engar, Will Boyd. Feel free to reach out to us, let us know, and hop in the Healthcare Digital Marketing Facebook group if you've got a chance. Alex, it's been a pleasure.
It has indeed. I can't wait for the next episode. Diving into basically an entire digital marketing course here throughout the course of the podcast. So we can't wait to catch you on the next one, guys.